Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us truth. Citations to the sincere Akim and Aquath they may listen. May the blessing of election be over your house. My name is Brother Raquai. I'm back in here with another lesson. And for today's lesson is going to be a bit of history as well as some an exhortation, for, brothers who like to deal with women of the other nations, and how to, deal with these sorts of situations, right? And what I will say is I have a book here actually called Nature Knows What Color Line. I want to reference and read a couple excerpts from there. It's very, very good, packed, loaded with a bunch of information, right? So, first off, let me just open up with a script, right? Okay, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9, and it reads, "The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and the thing is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. See, there is Slakia." Verse 10, "Is there anything whereof it may be said, See, this is new? It already hath been of old time, which was before us." Right? So one of the reasons we fell from greatness and we lost our strength and lost the connection with our powers, one of the reasons was when we took on and took these other women of the other nations, whether it be the Philistines, whether it be Edomites or the Ammonites, we took on their customs, right? And this is what angered and kindled a fire. This is why the Lord messed us up, and we discontinued from our heritage pursuant to Jeremiah 17 and 4, right? They weren't brought under our customs, and we're going to get examples of different forefathers who experienced these different things, right? Because the Israelite man today, they love women, especially the women of the other nations, right? Another reason what inspired this lesson is this account. Hold on. I saw this picture online earlier today. So this is LeBron James's son and his prom date, essentially, right? So this is what part of what inspired this lesson too. So what I want to do first off is I'm going to go into Nature Knows What Color Line and a couple of precepts and a couple excerpts, Salakia. So just bear with me 1 second. Just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so this is Nature Knows No Color Line in chapter, I don't know which chapter this is. This is Whites and Blacks in Italy. So I'm going to be jumping around, so just bear with me 1 second. So, okay, so this is page 122, and it reads, American Negro soldiers in the Second World War had a number of children by Italian women. Let's see. I'm just going to jump to the next page. And then I want to show you a couple pictures at the end. So just stay tuned for that, right? Okay, so this is just an account on so Negroes, so-called Negroes. So it says here that German women who, from what I've seen and read from them, were very fond of colored men, welcomed American Negro soldiers with open arms in 1945. Mrs. B. Mrs. Alice B. Shaw, U.S. Army Club Director who was stationed in Bremen and in Bavaria, said, and this is a quote: "I have been in Italy and France, and I have seen the success of colored soldiers with women, but never have I seen women trail our boys as the Germans. The French and the Italians show little reserve, not the Germans. The last of the conquerors have been given an account of the German women." I think that's a book actually, Last of the Conquerors. Had given an account of a German woman, Slovakia, and Negro soldiers in the Second World War that is almost documentary. And it says an estimated there were 3,000 children born in Germany to Negro fathers, with additional 1,000 yearly. This gives the approximate number for those born in towns such as Nuremberg, Gießen, Frankfurt, Mannheim, Munich. The German girls loved and cared for their brown babies, for the most part, in the face of the most brutal treatment. I have had girls tell me they've received nothing from the father for their child. So, Jake was just getting in there and getting out. You know what I mean? All they want is the child and work enough to care for it. And then below here it says, in the First World War, as said, brought thousands of mulatto children, offspring of Senegalese and white women, especially in the Rhineland. I have seen number of German mulattoes, offspring of Negro soldiers in both of these wars. The Nazis once had exhibit of pictures of them in Dusseldorf. Right? It's a little bit more. I just want to read. So this is just going in more into what was going on in Germany at the time as well. I have saw much association of Negro soldiers and German women. Some of the girls were not only quite good looking, but had an air of culture. Some of the mothers were quite young. One I saw was only 14. She had a mulatto child and was very proud. And that also just goes to show that, um, you know, this construct of race and is something that these elites in America actually made up, because and especially like if you look at TV today, if you're an Israelite man and you're listening to this and you have darker skin, you might feel like you're inferior, but it's actually superior, right? Because the man carries the seed, and then two, it's actually superior to actually have dark skin. That's a blessing, right? um but continuing on, one family ancestors living in Oslo are grandchildren of a general, Mikhail Egyptios, a Russian naval architect and shipbuilder who was himself a son of a Negro artist and a Russian noblewoman. Right, so you had examples throughout even recent history in the World War, where a lot of Israelite men were taking on, you know, these different women, right? But what kindled a fire, you know, that the Lord did not like and displeased the Lord, is the fact that we took on their customs, and and we fell away from the ways of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? So that's why I wanted to bring that out. But so let's get a couple precepts. Okay, so here's Jeremiah 10 and 1, and it reads, "Hear ye the word of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai speaketh unto you, O house of Israel, thus saith the Lord, and learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, and work of hands, and of a workman with an axe, and they deck it with gold and silver. Salakia, they deck it with silver and with gold, and they fasten it with nails, and move not. Right. So this goes into the different customs that these heathen practice. Right. And they worshipped all these different gods. They sacrificed their children for certain gods, and so on and so forth. And that is one of the things that displeases Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Right. So this is just a reminder of, okay, if you're one of those young men, and you actually have a preference for the heathen women, they're not supposed to, you're not supposed to go under their gods, right? Because their customs are completely vain. They're supposed to come under your rulership. um let's get another. Let's get an account, actually. um Okay, this is First Kings 11, verse 3. Okay, I'll read verse 1 just to establish context. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and the Hittites. I'm going to jump down to verse 4. And for it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his mind after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord, yet his power was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil things in the sight of the Lord Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, and went not fully after the Lord Yahweh, as he did his father. Right. So this was something that David did not do. Right. So, verse 7. This then did Solomon build a high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise he for all his strange wives burn incense and sacrifice unto their gods. And the Lord Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned away from the Lord, the power of Israel, which he had appeared unto him twice. And he commanded him concerning this thing, he should not go after other gods, but kept not which the Lord commanded. Right. So this is something that when Solomon got throughout his later years, you actually see his mind being going after these other doing things with other gods. Right. So if you parallel to, if you're in a situation dealing with a woman, for an example, your mind should not be turned after their gods and the things that she worships. Right. She has to come under your tutelage, your rulership. Right. you know um and you can even parallel that to today, like for a lot of the things that a lot of these women worship, because even today, like especially in the West, I've noticed a lot of women, they like to worship all these different zodiac signs. There's like a earth sign and a fire sign and all these different signs, and they worship all these different different things that the Most High created, right, onto this astrology nonsense. Right. Another thing is, like, a lot of our women, Israelite women, are in these churches too, paying tribute to Jesus Christ. So that's also liking um a lot of men, and it's mostly the other women that are in there, right? And the men follow after them, right? So this is what you want to refrain from doing. You don't want your mind to be taken away. You don't want to be you don't want your mind essentially to be geared away from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? you know they need to come under your rulership. I have to just keep reiterating that, right? So so that's just an account, because if you even look at a lot of celebrities as well, for example, what's her name, Gabrielle Union and her husband, Dwayne Wade. You could tell the dynamic is different, and she's the one, you know um she's the one that they're both doing it, but she's pushing that trans vibration, right? And look what they did for their son, to Dwayne Wade's son, right? He supposedly transitioning to become a girl, which is completely off. So it was, that is also likened unto a sacrifice, in today's time, right? So let's get Nehemiah. Okay, so this is Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 23, and it reads, "In those days I Jews that married wives of Ashdod and of Ammon and of Moab, and their children spake half in speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language according to the language of each people." So you realize what happens when they're not coming in your under your mindset, under your rulership, right? Their minds start to slowly become polluted, and then what happens generations down the line, you end up with a bunch of degenerate plants, right? um Verse 25, "And I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by the Most High Yahweh, saying, You shall not give your daughters and sons, nor you take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves." Verse 26, and it quotes King Solomon's transgression, right? Because you know um Nehemiah was present during the Medo-Persian Empire, right? So this is hundreds of years after King Solomon's reign. Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things? So you always have to remind these people that of the transgressions of their forefathers, right? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his power, and the Most High Yahweh made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin, right? So they stand up stumbling, right? Verse 27, "Shall then we hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our power, Yahweh, in marrying strange wives," right? So this just goes to show that this spirit of Israelite men, always had a fondness for these heathen women, right? Even even to this day, right? But this is just a bit of history, but also just an exhortation as well of how to deal when you're in these sort of situations, when you're come across these women, right? you know so not to go on to paying homage to their other gods, obviously, right? Because that would that's likened unto your mind being turned away from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, right? So there's other examples such as Samson as well. because he, was very fond of the woman from the Philistines. But I want to end it off here. I don't want to make this too long. But hopefully this video was edifying, and I just like to give our praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh. Oh, Salakia. There's one more thing I want to bring out. I almost forgot. Here are some of the pictures. Right. Let's see if we can rotate this. Wait. Okay, so this is these what people might call so-called mixed, but they're not mixed, they're just Israelite babies, from these Negro soldiers, right? Right, so here's more. So below here, it says children of soldiers by white mothers, and the dads are Israelite men. Right, and this is another picture, because they were very, very fond of us back in those days, right? This is also like I guess a self-esteem booster, because like when you watch media, especially if you like you're an Israelite, and you're in the faith, and you probably one of those brothers that might have darker skin, and if you have like some self-esteem issues, whatnot, I'm not sure, but this is just I guess a reminder that you are very well sought after, when you go through the chapters in this book, right? But anyways, this is mostly just to understanding how to deal with dealing with concubines and dealing with strange women, right? Anyways, like I said, hopefully this video was edifying, and decide to give our praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. The next time I say, Shalom.